What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Faith, and I'm back with another banger stock market video. I'm not gonna waste your time. You ready? Let's get it. All right, so today I am going to show each and every one of you some tips and tricks and best practices of how to hold your trades longer. Basically, I mean, there's an art to letting your winning trades run. I know we've all been in situations before where we have been in a trade, whether it be calls or puts, we're in and the trend is our friend this specific day, but we just seem to exit the entire position at 20%, only to see it run 300%. Now, we've all been there. We've all had those days. It happens every single day and it happens to everyone, right? But I'm gonna give you a little, some tips and tricks in order to see if you can actually start capitalizing on a larger portion of these moves. Now, sometimes it's not always worth it, as we know, but in a situation like this, let's say you were in this move here, right? And I have a zone. This is NVIDIA. We're on the 5-minute chart of NVIDIA. I have a zone here, a resistance area from 140 to 140.50. So what it did when it opened, tapped, enter puts here, exited here because this was my next level. But what ended up happening is it did bounce off the level, but the trend was so strong on this day and there was a lot of sellers. And as a result, I caught maybe from here to here, which was a good trade, and if you look back at it, but if I would have waited, you could have caught from somewhere around here, and you could have rode this whole move down. Once you got here, you were already in the clear. If you caught anywhere around this candle here, or even this candle here, or even this one, once you got to this candle, this 1025 candle, 1025 AM candle, oh, you were good. You were in the money. Even with the next candle, it didn't even engulf the previous one. So you were in the money. The following candle didn't, the following candle didn't. And it was just, you missed out on so much money right there. It's not even funny, right? But you took profits at 20%, which is nothing wrong with taking profits at 20%. You know, we want you to make sure that you lock in some profits all the time, but just some tips and tricks on how to actually hold. And, the most common one that I'm gonna say, the answer may seem common, but it's actually just holding longer. We've all been in those positions where, you know, we get in a position and sometimes it may go against us immediately. Sometimes it may go in our favor immediately. We all know that that is a plus. If you get in a position and it starts moving in your favor, 20, 25% immediately, even 10%, amazing. If you have zero drawdown, no matter what percentage it is, if you have zero drawdown, amazing. That's what you want, right? But we've all been in those positions where we got in and, you know, we got out at 20% and it ran 300-400%, which is fine. But the very first thing that I would say do is to just hold longer. If you're in a position and you got in, especially if you didn't have any drawdown and you're up 20% and it starts to pull back, now let's say you're up 12% or up 10%, right? If it starts to pull back, you've built that cushion because of that great entry that you got. So hold on just a little longer and see what it definitely you definitely want to start taking some type of trims at 20%. But if you enter a position and you have zero drawdown from the time that you enter and you're still in the trade about 10 minutes later, like you don't really have a reason to sell. It hasn't reversed on you. You don't have a reason to sell. You got in a great entry, almost up to 15 to 20% immediately. You don't have a reason to sell. So don't sell yet. You can start trimming some of your position. Now, if you only have one contract, then yes, you don't have a choice but to sell if you decide to sell at 20%. And you know, I would probably do that anyway, right? If you're only trading with one contract. But if you're in 15, 20 contracts, right, and you're up 20%, all right, you can trim 10 contracts. You can trim half of your position and hold the other position to break even. But if it never even hit break even and you're just holding the remaining of those 10 contracts and you have a 300% run up because you're playing puts here, it pulled back here, you got in here, remember, and you got out here because this is the next level that you had, which was amazing. You stuck to the strategy. That's how it goes. But it pulled back here, and let's say you were down 3, let's say you were still up, but you were only up 2 to 3%, or let's say 5%. If you already trimmed 50%, you've alleviated a lot of the risk. that you had already. And that's the name of the game, risk management. You have to practice risk management when you're doing this. You've already trimmed 50% of your position before this even happened. So let's say you went in with 20 contracts, you exited 10 contracts here. These contracts pulled back. Let's say you're only up 5% now, but you still have 10 contracts left. I would just hold. Too often we get in these positions where it's like our brains and our fingers are at this turning point where we have to do something. And we're like, all right, we got to make a decision now, because we're so used to making fast decisions. We have to make a decision now. We got to make a decision now. A lot of times we end up prematurely making decisions, right? It's just because this whole trading options and stock market is so psychological, it's insane, right? So we have to make a decision now. So we end up prematurely making the decision, and what happens is we miss out on a play like 300% or 200% or even 100%, right? You've doubled your money in 30 minutes. You know, how many professions can you do that in? Like actually take control of your own pot of money and double your money or triple or quadruple your money in 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. It doesn't even matter. So yeah, too many times we got in those positions and we felt like, hey, we need to get out because we're stuck at a crossroad. And your brain is like, I've been there. It's like, hey, on one hand, it's like, okay, man, I just made 20% in 10 minutes. 20% of my money in 10 minutes. But on the other hand, it's like, all right, I'm gonna sell because I'm playing it safe, and whatever happens after this, it's just gonna have to happen. And I'm gonna either catch FOMO, or you're probably gonna catch FOMO. There's really nothing you can do about that, but how you let it affect you afterwards is the true test. That would be my recommendation on how to hold your trades longer. Simply just hold your trades longer. Make sure you get those trims off, 10, 15, 20%. Everybody has different strategies, right? Everybody takes profit at different levels. To be on the safe side, 15 to 20%, because we like to go by a strategy which is just more size, less trades. We're not trying to take 10 trades a day. If we can catch one good trade and put some size on that trade and we be done for the day by 10:30, that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to work as smart and efficient as possible. If we can do a one and done type of situation, then that's what we're doing. If it takes us 2 trades in order to get the profit that we're looking for the day, then that's what we're doing. That's my advice of what to do. Hold a little longer. Make sure you take that first trim. That would be my first thing I would say. Take that first trim, and after you've trimmed half of your position, take 50% off. And as long as you don't hit your stop loss, you can even set a stop loss of maybe 10%, right? You can set a stop loss of maybe 10%, and if it doesn't hit your stop, hold the trade. So make sure you're always using risk management, but hold a trade and see what happens, right? Make sure you have a stop loss in place. If your stop loss does not get triggered, you have no reason to exit. Hold the trade, and I'm sure that, because it seems like all the opportunities always miss you, right? I'm not the only person that feels like that when we trade stocks. Like, it seems like opportunities tend to miss us, or we tend to miss opportunities in the heat of the moment, right? And the only way to know whether that trade was going to go in your favor or not is to hold the trade. Make sure you're using a proper risk management. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Do not come to my channel saying that, hey, Faith told me to do X, Y, and Z, and I lost all of my money he owes me. I do not owe you a thing. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. I might do a YouTube video about how to set up TradingView. If you guys would like me to do that, comment TradingView in the comments if you guys would like me to do a video on how to set up TradingView. All right, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the stream. Just like that, we are out. I see you guys later.